If you've watched Miraculous, Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir, you know the series brought us Akumatized villains who pushed the heroes to their limits in battles packed with emotion. But have you ever stopped to think about which ones were the most powerful of all? The ones who almost managed to defeat Ladybug and Cat Noir? Cat Blanc. Number 1 on this list couldn't be anyone else but Cat Blanc, the corrupted version of our beloved and sometimes clumsy Cat Noir. But hold up. He's not just some background villain of the week. We're talking about one of Marinette's biggest traumas and one of the darkest storylines in all of Miraculous Ladybug. It all starts innocently enough. Marinette wants to give Adrien a simple beret as a gift. Sweet, right? The problem is, instead of just acting like a normal person, she decides to bring Ladybug's powers into the mix. The result? Adrien finds out her secret identity. From there, the story spirals out of control in that unique way only Miraculous can pull off. Gabriel Agreste, who already had a solid track record for Worst Dad of the Year, takes the chance to Akumatize his own son. And just like that, Cat Blanc is born, the apocalyptic version of our kitty, a villain with practically unlimited power, capable of wiping out Paris with a single touch. Think of him as Thanos, just in a white suit and with way bigger family issues. This episode is considered one of the most tragic in the series. We see Adrien completely corrupted, Marinette desperately trying to fix things, and Paris, well, Paris gets blasted into space, literally. And yet, right in the middle of the end of the world, Adrien and Marinette finally kiss. Yep, the long-awaited kiss fans had been waiting for happens in the middle of all that chaos. The result? Fans lost their minds, theories exploded, and to this day the episode is remembered as a major turning point in the series. So, Cat Blanc isn't just another villain. He's basically an emotional scar in the Miraculous Ladybug storyline. A mix of romance, tragedy, and destruction that proves when love goes wrong in this universe, it's not just hearts that break, it's all of Paris that blows up. Step right in, the video has already started. Oblivio. This time we've got Oblivio, a fusion that's anything but ordinary. Nino and Alia, who are not only Marinette's and Adrien's best friends, but also a couple in the series. The episode kicks off in chaos. Marinette and Adrien stuck in an elevator with no memory. That's right. Oblivio isn't just powerful, he's the type of villain who could make you forget where you even left your phone charger. And of course, Ladybug and Cat Noir completely lose track of who they are. Secret identities? Gone. But that's where it gets really interesting. Without the baggage of memory, Marinette and Adrien start falling for each other all over again, this time fully aware of who they are. And yes, it's in this whirlwind of forgotten memories that the famous kiss between the two happens. No masks, no secrets, just the moment that had fans screaming louder than Hawkmoth at the end of an episode. In the end, like true heroes, they manage to defeat Oblivio, return Paris's memories, and save Nino and Alia. In other words, everything goes back to normal, except for the fans' hearts, which were left in pieces after that kiss. Risk, an innocent little toy that turns into a threat. That's how Risk is born. The villain who makes everyone lose their fear. Yes, literally everyone in Paris starts living like they're stunt doubles in an action movie. The result? The whole city becomes a chaotic amusement park with people throwing themselves into insane dangers like it's the most normal thing in the world. And here's the most ironic part. This villain came from a stubborn kid. Yup, that classic I'll do it my way phase got supercharged, and suddenly, Paris was at the mercy of a little boy. Before spreading his wave of courage, he even hid the akumatized object on the playground, right inside his toy frog. And of course, Ladybug and Cat Noir took a while to figure out where the key piece was hidden. Another creepy detail was the mark Risk left on people's necks. It was like a stamp burned onto their skin, turning any ordinary person into a reckless daredevil. Naturally, Hawkmoth took full advantage, proving that playing with emotions, or in this case, the lack of them, is the perfect recipe for disaster. Robostus. Max has always been the class genius, but this time he went from prodigy nerd to building a robot with feelings. The result was Robostus, a villain who could bring any object to life. And when I say any object, I mean any. A chair, a doll, a traffic light. Suddenly, everything turned into a threat. Paris looked like one of those movies where even the toaster decides to rebel against humanity. But let's rewind a little. Max was helping the school get rid of a computer virus, but in the process, he created this robot that not only worked well, but also wanted to chat, share ideas, and basically join the group. The problem? The teacher wasn't exactly thrilled about having a classmate made of bolts. The result? The principal confiscated the robot and locked it in his office like it was just a banned toy. Except here's the thing. This robot had real feelings and a deep bond with Max. When it was separated from its creator, it felt loneliness, rejection, and the kind of heartbreak worthy of a sad playlist on repeat. That pain was the perfect opening for an Akuma to swoop in. And just like that, Robostus was born, loaded with bitterness and enough power to turn Paris into a horror movie version of Toy Story. Ladybug and Cat Noir had a massive challenge on their hands with this one, because fighting a city where every single object could suddenly come to life isn't exactly easy. It was like playing a video game on extreme mode. But in the end, as always, they managed to save the day, restore peace, and show that even technology can have both a heart and a temper. Before we keep going with the rest of the most powerful Akumatized villains in Ladybug, drop a comment below. Villains. Darker Owl. Paris was already on fire with so many superheroes running around, and in the middle of that hype, Principal Damocles decides he wants to join the trend too. The problem? He has no powers, no real skills, and can barely climb a staircase without running out of breath. The result, of course, was everyone bursting into laughter when he tried to play hero. And that public humiliation was exactly the push Hawkmoth needed to step in. Fueled by his sense of ridicule, Damocles accepts the Akuma and transforms into Darker Owl. Think of him as a dark, twisted version of Batman. He's that kind of villain where you don't know whether to run away from him or laugh in his face. Deep down, Darker Owl is a strange mix. On one hand, he represents a real threat to Ladybug and Cat Noir. On the other, he delivers some unintentional comedy just by trying to be this dark, brooding hero who can never quite take himself seriously. This episode shows that even adults can fall into the trap of wanting to be something they're not. And in Principal Damocles' case, his dream of becoming a masked vigilante only proved that Paris already has more than enough superheroes. Lies. Ever since Adrien met Kyoko, he discovered a new kind of freedom. No uniform, no superhero duties, just two teenagers trying to escape the chains of their over-controlled lives. Kyoko, with a routine as strict as Adrien's, knew how to create magical moments, secret meetups that felt like they were stolen from a forbidden romance. But there's one little detail. Adrien is also Cat Noir. And being a superhero comes with a heavy price. Every time he has to transform, he also has to lie. To the world, to his friends, and inevitably to Kyoko. But she's no fool. She notices the excuses, the disappearances, the evasive looks, and when the truth never comes, her heart breaks. It's in this storm of emotions that she gets akumatized and becomes Lies, a ruthless supervillain determined to wipe out every single lie in the world. Her goal is crystal clear: destroy anyone hiding the truth, including, of course, Ladybug and Cat Noir. The cruel irony? Adrien, who lied to protect her, ends up as one of her main targets. This episode is intense, showing not just the destructive power of lies, but also how fragile relationships become once trust is broken. More than just a battle against a powerful villain, it's a fight against the heartbreak of betrayal. Party Crasher. Adrien's life is always surrounded by rules, and one of the strictest is that he's not allowed to have friends over at his house. When he tells Wayhem about it, the boy understands, until he finds out an impromptu party happened inside the mansion. And guess what? Jealousy hits hard, and that's the perfect opening for Hawkmoth to attack. And that's how Party Crasher is born. The villain who shows up out of nowhere to ruin any fun. He comes in with a flashy look, oversized muscles, and overwhelming strength, turning the party into a full-on battlefield. Forget cake, music, and dancing. The vibe instantly shifts to chairs flying, people screaming, and guests running like it's a high school prom gone completely wrong. Party Crasher is basically the embodiment of that one uninvited friend who only shows up to wreck everything. Except, in this case, he's powerful enough to put even Ladybug and Cat Noir in serious trouble. The episode perfectly shows how simple feelings like jealousy and exclusion can blow up into something massive once Hawkmoth gets involved. What was supposed to be a fun hangout with friends suddenly becomes an intense fight to save Paris from a villain who just couldn't handle rejection. In the end, of course, Ladybug and Cat Noir manage to defeat Party Crasher and restore order. If you're not part of it yet, take this moment to subscribe to the channel. That way, you'll catch every update without missing a thing. Penal Team. Imagine an entire squad of villains on the field, kicking balls that look like missiles and turning a simple soccer match into an explosive battle. That's exactly what happens in Penal Team, one of the wildest episodes of Miraculous Ladybug. Every play becomes a war strategy, and every kick could end in total chaos. It all starts innocently enough. Miss Bustier, always the inspiring teacher, organizes a soccer game to teach the values of teamwork, sportsmanship, and of course, fun. Marinette, who absolutely loves the game, is super excited and does everything she can to keep the harmony on the field. But, as always, someone has to ruin it. Chloe. Chloe hates soccer, plain and simple, hate with every fiber of her being. But what really drives her crazy is watching Marinette, calm, focused, and determined, insist on including her in the match. That's just too much for Chloe's ego. The result? Her anger explodes, and Hawkmoth sees the perfect opportunity. Akumatized, Chloe transforms into Penal Team, and the game turns into a nightmare. Now, instead of a harmless school match, Ladybug and her allies are forced to face an entire team of villains, where every move is a weapon and every goal is an explosion. Paris suddenly feels like the stands of a World Cup final, but the apocalyptic version. Stormy Weather. Aurora always dreamed of being the star, but when she loses a competition, frustration takes over, and Hawkmoth finds the perfect opening. That's how Stormy Weather is born, the villain capable of turning a simple tantrum into a full-blown climate apocalypse. And no, that's not an exaggeration. With just one move, she can freeze all of Paris or unleash storms so intense that even the best umbrella would call it quits. Suddenly, what started as just a sore loser meltdown turns into complete meteorological chaos. Stormy Weather isn't just powerful, she's also unforgettable. She was one of the very first villains Ladybug and Cat Noir ever faced. And since then, she's always returned to prove that you should never underestimate someone with total control over the weather. After all, it's not every day you meet someone who can turn an entire city into a freezer or make it rain like the end of the world is coming. To defeat her, Ladybug and Cat Noir need more than just strength. They have to show that Aurora's bad habits, like not knowing how to handle losing, don't define who she really is. Only then can the sun shine over Paris again. Hoaxer. Lila is an absolute master of lies. Her twisted talent not only makes everyone adore her, but also earns her a contract with none other than Gabriel Agreste. Everything seemed perfect for her, until Marinette and Adrian started growing closer. And since fate loves a plot twist, Gabriel chooses Kyoko as the new face of the brand, leaving Lila furious. Determined to reclaim her spotlight, Lila seizes on a minor incident in class and calls for new elections to try and replace Marinette as class rep. But, of course, things don't go as planned. Her campaign flops miserably, much to the delight of Hawkmoth, or rather Monarch, who watches it all with that smug grin, knowing misinformation has its limits, or maybe none at all. When Lila transforms into Hoaxer, things escalate fast. She becomes an expert at spreading lies and manipulating everyone around her with fake news. Nothing is safe from her reach. Classmates, teachers, even superheroes. She's the kind of villain that proves disinformation can be more dangerous than any physical superpower, able to cause nearly irreversible damage in just a matter of minutes. At the end of the day, every villain in Miraculous Ladybug proves that not all threats come from superpowers or Akumas. More often than not, the greatest challenges rise straight out of human emotions. Do you enjoy the world of animations? Then don't miss these 2 awesome videos we picked out for you. Thanks for tuning in and see you soon!